Welcome to the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine Weekly Newscast.
Hi everyone, my name's Dave Sadler from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine with another week full of information from the world of archaeology and metal detecting. First up this week on last night's All Metal Mode UK podcast, which you can hear on Spreaker. Even if you Google it, All Metal Mode UK, you will find the shows. Our guest last night was that Brad, and we discussed his metal detecting and magnet fishing. Now, the reason I bring this up at the start of the show is because it is Mental Health Week in the UK, and we did touch upon mental health, and we discussed how metal detecting is very, very therapeutic for people with anxiety issues, with depression and other mental illnesses. And I'd like to point everybody to an episode, maybe a short documentary that's recently been released by YouTuber Addicted to Bleeps. He's created a video called Mental Health and Metal Detecting. It's a 23-minute long episode, and believe me, it is a fantastic, thought-provoking video, and something obviously everybody should take very, very seriously. It's helped me. Metal detecting has helped me immensely. I've had periods of anxiety and periods of depression, and one of the things that my doctor told me, if you enjoy metal detecting, get out there and do it. It's exercise, it's fresh air, there's the potential to meet people and talk to people obviously that you know. Go and do it with them, or if you do it alone, there's nature, there's birdsong, there's running water, there's the beauty of the countryside. So as I say, in the UK, as it's Mental Health Week, please consider looking at that video by Addicted to Bleeps called Mental Health and Metal Detecting. It goes a lot more into depth than I'm able to in a short broadcast. So first this week, again, as I say, it's been a very busy week. One of the potential history-changing finds of the week, the headline is, "It could change everything. Coin found off northern Australia may be from pre-1400 Africa. Experts believe that they may have found a Kilwa coin that could change what we know about the history of global trade." The story goes into depth about this coin, which isn't a great looking coin from the 15th century. It's believed to be from, as I say, Kilwa, more than 10,000 kilometres away from where it was found in what is now known as Tanzania, dating from the 15th century. Its surface is eroding, obscuring identifying features, but people are confident that it is one of these coins. So how did, well, we know there's travel, but there's no evidence of travel and trade of this consequence. Generally known as we speak, so it's a very thought-provoking time for archaeologists and historians to find more information and put more into that particular find. Now, as I said last week, one thing I'm going to stop doing because it was annoying me, and I didn't get time to do it properly during the show, was a little intermittent jingle between news items. So going straight on to the next story. Metal detectorists discover the biggest ever haul of Roman coins found in the UK. And what a good-looking hoard it is. Rob Jones and Craig Paul couldn't believe that was seeing when they uncovered the huge haul in the village of Rawsby in Lincolnshire. The two, and why do the media always call metal detectors amateur metal detectors? What is a professional metal detectorist? Can't we just call them metal detectorists? That'd make a far more easy and obvious answer. Anyway, the two enthusiasts have unearthed the biggest haul of copper coins ever found in Britain. We're looking at 3,000 Roman coins inside a ceramic pot buried in the rural field. Experts say the hoard is the biggest haul of copper alloy coins ever found in Britain. early estimates suggest, and that again, I wish that the media wouldn't do this. They estimate the value of finds. I think it's a tad. They shouldn't do it. People just see figures. There's been a lot of anger lately in the archaeological community to an archaeologist who was also a metal detectorist who found something of consequence, and the money matters have been splurred all over the internet, and obviously archaeologists are quite unhappy about that, and unhappy about the processes which have led to the gentleman allegedly receiving a large significant sum of money from the Treasure Committee. Back to the Roman Hoard. Engineering teacher Rob said he and planner Craig began digging after their metal detectors started bleeping, obviously. Rob said he couldn't believe it. He's found a few things before, but nothing of this scale. Obviously, they've been there for around 2,000 years. The pots have been buried in a large pit lined with limestone. Archaeological investigations are going on at the site. And obviously you can see them images, as I always say, online. Another fantastic find. No matter what people think of metal detectorists, and no matter what people think of the Treasure Trove Act, at the end of the day, it's a valuable insight into archaeology. It's bringing things to the attention. There's a gentleman in South Wales called Mike Smith who found what is believed to an Anglo-Saxon king's burial, and it's led to a whole lot of archaeology. And also our last week's special episode with Craig Denny. Andy Denny's somebody I work with Craig Denny. Obviously, there's been a lot of archaeological finds in South Wales thanks to and history changing finds in South Wales thanks to his particular artifacts. Moving on anyway, as I say, go and have a look for that for yourself. This morning's news that's come out from the BBC is that Queen's bones found in Winchester Cathedral Royal Chest. Winchester Cathedral in the UK has a number of mortuary chests, and one of those is now believed to include that of an early English queen. The contents of 6 chests have been analysed and radiocarbon dated. The University of Bristol's biological anthropologist found they contained the remains of at least 23 individuals, several more than originally thought. One is that's believed to be that of Queen Emma, who was married to the Kings of England, Ethelred and Knut. Although the chests originally placed near the high altar had inscriptions stating who were supposed to be within them, it is not known that the name bore no relation to the actual contents inside. The contents has become mixed when the cathedral was ransacked and the bones were scattered by Roundhead soldiers during the English Civil War in 1642. They were repacked by locals, so it's not known whose remains were replaced or if they're the same bones. Queen Emma apparently was born in the 980s, the daughter of Richard I, the Duke of Normandy. She married, as I said earlier, 2 kings, Aethelred the Unready and Knut the Great. She had children, including 2 kings, King Harthacnut and Edward the Confessor. A key political figure in her own right, she gave the Dukes of Normandy a hereditary claim to the English throne, leading to the Norman conquest in 1066. Described in a Latin inscription on a mortuary chest as the mother and wife of the Kings of England. And again, you can find more, including historical photographs suggesting to be of Queen Emma, throughout the internet. In particular, I'm looking at the moment at the BBC report. So that was Queen Emma. Now, over in France, can you solve the riddle of the rock? A village in western France is offering €2,000 for anybody who can help deciphering a 230-year-old inscription found on a rock on a remote beach. Until now, no one has been able to make out the meaning of the 20 lines of writing discovered on only a few years ago. The metre-high slab is in a cove, accessible only by low tide near the Brittany village of Ploughcastle. Among the normal French letters, some are reversed or upside down. There are also some Scandinavian style letters. This looks great. It's a big rock. It could be something as simple as graffiti, which people have continued and added to over the years. It could be something of great significance. It could be, some people would hope to be some form of treasure map. It could be anything, but the local official Michel Paugam thinks the language may be of ancient Breton. So if you are feeling a bit of a decipherer, if you've got that in you, and I know a lot of people do take that as a very, very interesting hobby, and obviously a lot of people involved in it. Cryptology, they can obviously find all this information online, and obviously the communication with anybody of ilk, and hopefully one day we will be able to report on what the rock actually states. Okay. Mystery of the 2-ton, 1,000-year-old giant stone jars of the dead. Researchers have found 100 more prehistoric burial urns that were moved miles to a remote forest in Laos by Iron Age civilization. Archaeologists catalogue 137 new jars that were found in 15 sites within deep, remote mountain forests. While shrouded in mystery, experts think the jars were most likely used in burial rituals or in tombs. Some of the jars came with marker discs decorated with figures or patterns, as well as miniature clay jars. Researchers hope that the new findings will help to unlock the puzzles surrounding the jars' origins and use. So 137 jars found in the woods in Laos. Some of these jars being, quite big. Probably man size, some of them waist size. Fantastic. They're actually in what is called the plane of the jars, carved from and I'm not talking small stone jars. They're actually carved from huge blocks of sandstone and limestone. The jars on the Zhangquang Plateau date from 500 BC to 500 AD. They appear to have been quarried from several areas in the foothills of Zhangquang. I'm not very good with my pronunciation, am I, of foreign terminology. Before being spread over more than 90 sites, numbering from just a handful in some areas to hundreds in others. Each has a cylindrical shape with the bottom wider than the top, and most have lip rims, raising suspicions that the jars originally had lids. However, few stone lids have been found at the sites. Little is known about the jars. Were created by some archaeologists speculate that the people who made them used iron chisels to carve them. Just one jar has been found to have been decorated with human frogmen relief carved on the exterior. Now, these jars are massive. They are something to look at, and some of the carvings within them, cylindrical shapes, absolutely fantastic. Obviously Laos, near to Vietnam, Burma and Thailand, is an area I don't know much about, and we don't often see anything published regarding the archaeology finds at the sites. So have a look at that, the Jars of the Dead in Laos on the internet. Finally, over in the UK, have we found our Tutankhamun? Archaeologists make an astonishing discovery behind an Essex supermarket. The royal burial site uncovered between the pub and Aldi supermarket in Essex has been hailed as the UK's equivalent to Tutankhamun's tomb. The astonishing finds were made by workmen during the widening of a section of road in Prittle Hill near Southend in 2003. 16 years ago. You've got to ask how long that information took to come out and why. It must be something of significance, obviously. Artifacts have been analysed by a team of experts who believe the remains could be that of Siaxa, brother of the Anglo-Saxon king Seibert. Sophie Jackson, director of the research engagement for the Museum of London, MOLA, said it is earliest dated Christian Anglo-Saxon princely burial in the country. A hell of a lot of things going on here. A lot of archaeology took place. a lot of gold and other gilded items, artifacts found. The BBC have actually published an article on questions that we, the public, had regarding the site. So, have a look for that on the BBC about the Anglo-Saxon burial, our Tutankhamun. Again, there's videos out there from ITV News. There's images of what the artist impression of what the burial chamber would have looked like originally. There's images of the archaeology and some of the things in situ, and the archaeologists studying the bowl found it in the burial chamber, actually in the laboratory. So another great piece of archaeological history currently found in looking at in the UK. So that concludes this week. There's been a hell of a lot more, but we try and keep it as short and as sweet as possible as not to bore you. If you do want to obviously find out a little bit more about ourselves, have a look at www.archmdmag.com. Myself also appears on the All Metal Mode UK podcast, as suggested earlier, which my colleague at the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, Luke Higgins, produces, along with the host, Mike Hare. We're also assisting in the production of Global Detecting Adventures with Lance Goolsby in Germany. He's an American chap living in Germany, so please have a look out for that as well. I think that's about all. If you do need to contact myself, it's editor@archmdmag.com to discuss anything of consequence. Obviously, to discuss if you want to contact me with an article to be published on the website and be discussed on the podcast, please feel free to do so. That would be fantastic. I'm Dave Sadler from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. Hope you have a great week.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcast and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.